national championship game seems to be watched by a lot of people. So no, it's just a different type of attention, I guess, and yeah, it's pretty cool.
I guess can you take us through, I guess, when you kind of made your decision, I guess, to finally kind of move on and declare? I guess, was there a certain day, or was it just kind of something that's always?
No, I mean, it's kind of cool that I wrote the thing because there are all answers in there. It's kind of funny, but I mean, it's more like a process, you know. It's there isn't a certain day where you think, okay, this is it. It just felt right. Like I said, for me, it's not about all the risks, all the stuff that you have to calculate, and the stuff we talked about last year. It's more a decision that I made as an individual, as a human, you know. What's the next step in my life? So, and I wouldn't be able to make that reflective decision if I didn't have great 3 years here at Michigan, and really would appreciate this time. So it all plays into it.
I guess you didn't have a preconceived notion, like, coming into the season, like, this was going to be it for you, right? It was kind of something that...
Yeah, I mean, no. That's why I made the decision to come back, because I felt like if I come back, I'm excited to come back, and I'm 2 feet in. And October, it's a whole new challenge for me to be one of the players that has major experience already, that has been playing minutes, and be one of the leaders. And I've never been in that position, so that was an extreme new challenge for me, and happy that I took that.
Where are you on the process of settling on an agent and all that stuff that goes with this?
I'm pretty far. Yeah, pretty far.
Is that a done deal?
It's about to be a done deal. Yeah, I think so. Feel pretty good. My representation, and I'm not a big business guy. I don't really like that type of stuff. So I like getting things done early, and I'm a gut guy too. So I go out of my gut with these type of things, and my parents are responsible for the other stuff. So I'm very happy to have them.
It's kind of interesting now with the guys who go through the process, can then come back, and then kind of go through the process again for all intents and purposes.
Yeah.
Do you think you will do the combine again in full, or do you think you would play if you did participate?
I don't know if there's I don't really know yet. I don't know if there's a purpose to play. The combine is a very sensitive topic, just because I think it's important that people play. And for me, last year it was very important to play, just because from a competitive standpoint, you know, I want to prove where I'm at. This year it's a little different, but there isn't like a set decision on anything. I just we'll see. I have some other stuff to figure out before I think about that stuff. But yeah, I mean, combine is always interesting, because last year there was this big thing, you know, when people don't go, like, think about rule changes and all that thing. So I don't even want to be in the middle of that. I'm just going with whatever the rule says.
Did you talk to any former teammates to get their advice?
Oh yeah, of course. I talked a lot. I mean, over the year too. Like, we always talk during the year, and people ask me this, and obviously I avoid those questions and always say it's not in my head, but as a human being, that obviously is in your head. And as much as you focus on the winning, and that's important. Obviously, there's some days where you think, okay, what's going to happen in 3 months, and even though that's not the dominating factor of your thought process, but your dominant thought process. But yeah, I talked to a lot of people. I mean, obviously, Kara's the guys that have been through this. Derek and DJ is one of my best friends as well. So I'm very grateful to have these guys and help me out with that.
How long did it take to start thinking about the draft and all that after Final Four happened?
Long time. I mean, it's kind of playing till Monday night. It's exhausting. So I don't want to hear anything about basketball for the next week. And yet I had to, just because and we talked about this last week. Last year, we lost to Oregon in the Sweet 16, and when was that? In the middle of March. So we had like a whole month before, or 2-3 weeks before I could prepare for the whole draft thing. And this year, it's a little different, because we won more games and it took longer. So, and it's more exhausting because you're in the spotlight for so long, which is cool, but it was also exhausting, and so it was a little stressful, and I had to take some time off just mentally. But like I said, you can't choose the situation, and I think it's a very good problem to have as well.
What did Coach Beeline say to you about the situation? What was his advice to you?
To not make a rush decision, which I think did a pretty good job of. Obviously, Coach Beeline and I have a very close relationship, so it was like communicated that we do this together, that we communicate every day about it, that we keep each other up to date about what's going on. And yeah, I think Coach Beeline and I have a really good relationship, and that's going to stay that way. And there are no hard feelings either way, and we love each other. So yeah, I feel very good about how we dealt with that.
Did he tell you that he feels that you're ready?
I mean, yeah, obviously, I mean, Coach Beeline is how am I going to say this? Coach Beeline really cares about his players. So he's not just going to say, yeah, you're ready, go. Because no one would ever say that, you know, when you care about someone and when you love working with someone. So I wouldn't say that either. So I think we did a pretty good job communicating that in a very fair way. I told him it's not for me, it's not about money, it's not about getting out of here, because you guys know better than anyone. I love this place. It's not about that, it's about moving on as a challenge yourself as a man, as a human being, and as an individual. So I think he really understands that.
Mo, is what we're seeing on like these mock drafts as far as your position, is that, would you say that's accurate from any
We're seeing June, right?
Intel, any intel you've been getting? Is that consistent, or do
I don't
you
even care.
okay, I'm just wondering if you see it, and if it.
Well, I won't tell you what I've heard, because that's obviously confidential, but I feel very good about what I can do and what I can't do about my position. Obviously, I'm a very confident guy going into May and June. I know what it's about now, since I had the experience last year. That's a huge advantage. And like I said, even if it's going to be a second round pick, it's like, you know what? I can fall asleep with a smile on my face, because I made this decision not based on where I'm going to get drafted. I made this decision and how much money I'm going to make. I made this decision because I feel ready to become a grown-up, and as much as it sucks to say it, move on, you know? And that's why I feel very good about everything.
How do you think last year gives you an advantage?
Oh, huge advantage. I mean, it's almost being a sophomore, you know? Like, when you go into college and you're freshman, you ask yourself what's going to happen next, and what's next, and what's next. Now we hit March, how is this going to be? And then as a sophomore, you come back in October and you know what's going to happen. And so you can just focus on what you're going to do and improve. It's the same way with this type of stuff. I know what's the combine like. I know how the people are going to talk to you, what they're going to ask you, how you prepare that stuff. Simple things like, how am I going to dress? You know, like those are all things that I didn't know last year. So it took place to think about it. It took time for me to simply, think about it. And I don't need that time this year. So, I'm very confident going into the next 2 months.
How are you supposed to dress?
Huh?
How are you supposed to dress?
Nice. Nice.
Did you last year?
Yeah, I did. But still, I mean, that was just a simple example, or how to pack. You know, like I remember my first visit, my first workout. I packed like so many shirts, and I didn't need that. You know, you wear the same thing. That's just what you do. You don't need all that stuff. So those are just things as a rookie. You think about that, it takes so much. You underestimate how much energy that takes.
There's been a lot of times, like especially in your first 2 years, and maybe only a little bit this year, you would always kind of like refer to yourself as a boy.
Yeah.
Say, I'm just a boy, I don't know, and blah, blah, blah. Whereas many of your contemporaries are always, you know, I'm the man, and I know everything, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I wish I knew everything.
I wonder kind of how you view your maturity level in terms of this next step of your life of being a professional with money and travel and life and rent.
Yeah, it kind of sucks to hear like that when you say that. You said that. Thank you, appreciate it. At the same time, it's a game, you know, that I play, so I don't have anything to complain about. I mean, my job is gonna throw a ball into the basket, so who am I to complain? And yeah, I still refer as myself to a kid a little bit because I just enjoy being that kid, not worrying about anything, worrying about when's my homework due. So that's my biggest worry here in college, you know. So it's definitely a big step for me in my life, but like I said, the last 3 years helped me a lot reflecting on that and helped me a lot to get to know myself and be prepared for this step. So I feel like with the support of my parents and just, I mean, I came from Germany over here, you know, with 18 years old. Like, I hope this is going to be a lot easier than what I've done back then. I feel pretty good about it, as much as it sucks. But I mean, you guys know how it is to leave college. You know, it's not always great. But like I said, I'm playing a sport, so I don't have anything to complain.
I mean, do you feel like you grew up more this year because you are an upperclassman? You know, there aren't really guys to look up to. There's a responsibility.
Oh yeah,
like that.
I mean, starts with simple stuff like on the court. I mean, if I threw a ball away my sophomore year, it was like, yeah, our inexperienced Mo, he throws the ball away. But this year, it's like, man, you play 30 minutes a game, you better take care of that ball. You know, that like you are the leader. If you throw it away, that's a big mistake. So those things carry on off the court and all that stuff. So that definitely impacts me and definitely helped me to grow up.
So for you, more than anything, this was just, it's time for me to fly the nest here a little bit. Right?
Yeah.
Just be an adult, like you said.
Yeah.
That's what it came down to. I mean, more than anything else. That's
I mean,
hard to put a
that's
number
what it
on
came down to last year too.
Yeah.
That I wasn't ready to do that, and it's the same decision this year. Just the other way around, you know. But that's definitely the point that I'm looked at the most, and I'm a big gut feeling guy. Like it just feels right. So it always sounds very naive when you say I trust my gut, but I obviously did my research and I feel very good about what I'm doing. So no, yeah, it's the same point I've made last year, and now it's just time for me, like you said.
Was there a moment or a conversation or a visit last year in that process where you thought, "Oh, I'm not ready for this"? Like,
No.
Or was it just the whole process?
No, it was more like it was more this place. It was more it was more I would love to be in college rather than not being an adult. You know, like I really like this place. Like I really do, and so that wasn't really wasn't enough for me to leave there. I have two great options. I had those this year too. So there wasn't enough like convincing reason for me to leave here. So why would I?
Well, kind of going off of that, did you feel like pressured by the system at all? I mean, there was a time, I guess, probably before you were born, where it was kids came back for 4 years. That was like the norm. Yeah. Is there any like, oh, I have to, you know, you got to go at least 1 year early?
No, it's not my fault that college is 4 years. You know, you know what I'm saying? No, that sounds weird, but like, I mean, that's just like I came to the University of Michigan, obviously to have the experience, but my main goal was to make it to the NBA. You know, to grow up as a person. That's why I came here. I tried to graduate. I'm going to graduate next year, but that was my main goal. I mean, I came here to be a basketball player, and I'm very lucky to be able to have these 3 years in my resume, and that I have such a great time here, and I'll always come back. So, yeah, the system. No, wow, it's just what it is.
If you weren't 7 feet, you looked like us idiots. What do you think you would do?
No idea. That's why I always. That's why I always say I'm so lucky, because I have no idea what I would do if I wasn't a basketball player. I literally did not. I probably would find a way, but so I'm saying I have nothing to complain about growing up. I'm a very grateful and blessed man, and I know that, and that's why I fall asleep with a smile on my face every day.
You mentioned the 2 feet in.